Good afternoon from Joliet, Illinois. Joliet Memorial Stadium as the University of St. Francis hosts the Eagles of Judson University in today's CCAC soccer doubleheader. Terry Bonadano with you for the action today as the Fighting Saints look to break into the win column for the first time this conference season. In fact, for the first time in the regular season, they have begun this year with an 0-5-3 record over their first 8 games, coming off of a 1-1 tie at Holy Cross their last time out there on Tuesday. Judson comes into play today with a record of 2-2-1 overall. The Eagles won their first conference match of the season. They've played just one so far, so they're 1-0 in CCAC play. They picked up a decisive 2-0 win over Roosevelt last Saturday. It was a home match for Judson. Today they take to the road for the first time. 2 straight road games coming up for the Eagles, whereas the Fighting Saints have a good run at home here. 3 of their first 4, in fact 4 of their first 5 conference matches this season are to be played here at Busey Bank Field at Joliet Memorial Stadium, including today's matchup with Judson. It's the Eagles who will take the first kick. Judson wearing navy blue. They're going from right to left in the first half. Shooting into the north goal, St. Francis is in white. Moving from left to right, they'll be shooting into the south goal as we get things started today. It's a beautiful day, a little bit warm maybe for the athletes down on the field. The temperature hovering around 80 degrees, sunny skies overhead. Perfect day for the spectators to take in back-to-back St. Francis versus Judson games as we are underway. The women, of course, playing first, and then the men will follow at about 3:30 this afternoon. Good takeaway at midfield for the Fighting Saints as they try to take the ball deep into Judson territory. It's knocked away by the Eagles, and the defense is able to secure possession and clear it. Starting lineups, we heard them before the start of today's game. Let's take one last look for Judson. It's Mariana Espinoza, Peyton Saragusa, Denise Jimenez, Daisy Garcia, Alex Warziniak, Ashley Portel, Josette Perez, Kelly Leone, Ryan Gonzalez, and Stephanie Nazkrent. The front 10 and their goalkeeper is the reigning CCAC Defensive Player of the Week, Joanna Mercado. Here's a run for the offense of Judson. They work their way into the box off the left foot of Denise Jimenez. Tapped back to Kelly Leone. Leone tries to set it up from the left side. Halted by Kelly Flores. Judson, though, maintains possession. They're working in the wrong direction here, though, as they give it up. And the ball is taken away by Andrea Aguirre for St. Francis. Pushed ahead, looking for Okana. Long run, Mia Okana, and she can't get there. Mercado instead knocks it towards the sideline and out of bounds. Okana outran Ashley Portell there. Got to the ball before the Judson defender could. But Mercado ended up jumping out of the box. The goalkeeper was able to make the play, kicking it out of bounds. So nice job by Mercado, who made 8 saves in her first collegiate shutout last Saturday against Roosevelt, the game for which she won that award I mentioned a few moments ago, CCAC Defensive Player of the Week. Trying to continue that scoreless streak today against St. Francis as we take a look at the starting lineup for the Fighting Saints. It's nothing too out of the ordinary for Al Pilar's squad. Michelle Pelayo, Zoe Vallant, Abby Janacek, Haley Bartlaga. The Saints work it into the box, poked away by Judson. Taken back by Okana. Okana tries to weave her way between a couple of defenders. Knocked off of her foot and cleared by the Eagles. The other starters for St. Francis, Alexis Mariquin, Mia Okana, who we've already heard from a few times today, Litzy Mendez, Kelly Flores, Emily Galvin, and Andrea Aguirre. The goalkeeper for St. Francis today is the sophomore Crystal Rodriguez, who has played every minute in net so far this season for the Fighting Saints. Rodriguez has allowed a total of 12 goals in 8 games. It's an average of 1.5 per contest. She's made 29 saves, a .707 percentage. She's got 1 shutout this season, and her record as goalkeeper is obviously the same as the team's, 0-5-3. Crystal Rodriguez has been solid in net to start conference play, allowing just 1 goal in each of the first 2 games. However, the Fighting Saints have not been able to score much themselves. That's been a persistent problem throughout this year. Just 5 goals in 8 games. Judson flips those numbers around. They haven't been too prolific offensively. 8 goals in 5 games for the Eagles. Oddly enough for St. Francis, their highest scoring game this year was back at the beginning of the month, September 6th against Marion. Top 5 nationally ranked team. It was the only time this season that the Saints have scored more than once. They put 2 goals on the board that game, but they ended up losing 3-2. Long ball to the outside. Haley Bartlaga trying to get to it. Bartlaga gets to it in the box, takes the shot, and it sails over the net out of bounds. Good positioning from Bartlaga. We do have a whistle and a foul on the Saints, so no shot, but it was a good ball to the right side. Denise Jimenez defensively tried to put herself in front of it. Bartlaga was able to get there first, but thanks to the whistle, was not able to get a shot off as another whistle blows here. And a foul on St. Francis. Creates a free opportunity for Judson. They work the ball quickly back into play. Just over 4 minutes into the action here. And there's been a fair amount of action already in this game. No shots for either side, but both teams have had their opportunities. They've both put themselves in position to get some shots off, but the defense has stepped up. That time the defense of Judson commits a foul. Peyton Saragusa, the senior, is called for the trip. And a free kick for Zoe Vallant, who sends it down the middle of the field. Kelly Flores passes to the outside. That's Abby Janacek. Judson coming back the other way, rolling to the near side. Jimenez shakes off Haley Bartlaga, keeps possession. And here come the Eagles. Kelly Leone along the sideline. Tries to cross it. Intercepted by Zoe Vallant, who pushes back to the middle of the field. Judson takes it away once again. Early in conference play, every game is a big one, and trying to establish yourselves as contenders. St. Francis still looking for their first victory overall this year, but they're not out of anything as far as conference play goes. They picked up a point in their first game, or their second game, I should say. They took the 1-0 loss last week as that ball chipped into the box, picked up on a couple of hops by Joanna Mercado. Here's Leone for the Eagles. She rolls it off to her right. Number 10, freshman Daisy Garcia. Back to Leone. Judson sets it up into the box, headed by Vallant off of Peyton Siragusa. And the Saints are able to get it out of bounds. Vallant was trying to clear it, but Siragusa got right in her way, and she almost put herself in shot position. Here's Jimenez working along the sideline. Jimenez dribbles it out of bounds. Throw in for St. Francis on the defensive end. 7 minutes gone in this game. We've got 38 to play in the first half. St. Francis did score a goal their last time out, the 1-1 tie with Holy Cross. And even though they weren't able to get the full 3 points, they were able to strike the scoreboard. They had gone 3 consecutive games without scoring, so that was big for them just to get some positive offensive feelings. We'll see if they can carry that over to today, keep the strong defensive play going, so they look to pick up their first win this year. Fighting Saints haven't played poorly. They have not certainly been getting blown out. Despite their 0-5-3 record, they haven't lost any game by more than 2 goals this year. Their worst defeat was 2-0. Which goes to show how well the defense has played. The lone problem with this team this year has simply been they just haven't had an offensive finisher. Bartlaga makes a run at this ball, but she's not going to get close to it. Easily stopped by the Judson defense. It's a similar roster for St. Francis to the one they had last year when they won 12 games and were one of the top teams in the CCAC. Litzy Mendez forces Alex Wierzeniak off the ball. Good play by Mendez. Chance for St. Francis. Mia Okana crosses in front of the net. Nobody on the receiving end, looking for Alexis Mariquin. Mariquin tripped up on her way to the ball, and a foul called on St. Francis. No score after 8.5 minutes today. Neither side has yet gotten a good look at the net. See if St. Francis can change that here as Bartlaga tries to control it off her chest. Passed ahead to Kelly Flores. Flores right into the middle of the field. Tap to the outside. Back into the center to Flores. Flores into the corner for Bartlaga. Bartlaga is able to keep it in bounds, looking for the cross. It's Flores once again. Mia Okana, good defense from Judson. Saints have been working it around, have not been able to get a look at the net, but the Eagles haven't been able to take it away. That was the first time they got a touch on it, as Jimenez hits it off the foot of Bartlaga and out of bounds. It's a St. Francis throw-in. Now a whistle and an illegal throw, I think, on the Fighting Saints. So we'll go back the other way instead. I was just saying that Fighting Saints have a similar roster to the one that won 12 games last year. So in that regard, the winless start through 8 games has been a little bit surprising, but they did lose the majority of their offense from a season ago. Allison Shar far and away led the team in scoring with 14 goals as Andrea Aguirre tries to thread the needle looking for Haley Bartlaga, but it's intercepted by Judson. Not able to clear it. Mia Okana can't keep it in play, though. Okana throws it back in. Judson's defense comes back and gets set. The defense of the Fighting Saints has been as good as ever this year, and they haven't played terribly offensively. They actually have outshot their opponents as a whole throughout this season, but their shots have not been the highest quality. They've outshot their opponents by 13, so not by a ton, an average of 1.5 shots more per game. Here come the Eagles trying to get the first good shot today. Pushed ahead by Josette Perez and intercepted by St. Francis. Galvin taps it back. Stepping up well outside the net, Crystal Rodriguez gets her first touch today. Mendez taps to the outside, Fighting Saints along the far sideline. Pushed across midfield. There's a ball to the corner of the box. Mia Okana takes it back towards the sideline. Sent in front of the net, turning around, no chance for the Fighting Saints. Mariana Espinoza clears it for Judson. Alexis Mariquin takes it back for the Saints. Towards the back line, off the foot of Mia Okana. It's taken out of bounds for a corner kick. First corner kick of the game. 33 minutes to play in the first half. Got a substitution for St. Francis, so first corner kick. First substitute as well. Claudia Hernandez checks in for Haley Bartlaga. And the ball is set in the far corner. Kick comes in towards the back post, chased down by Hernandez, who can't keep it in bounds. So she gets her first touch immediately after coming in. Loses it off her right foot and out. Out in the corner, but that's on the sideline, not the end line. So it is a throw in and not a goal kick, meaning that St. Francis is able to keep the pressure on here a little bit. Ashley Portel gets it right back after throwing in. Sent down the sideline. Galvin intercepts. Knocked out of bounds by Judson. St. Francis takes possession again. Jimenez tries to clear it. Deflected off the foot of Peyton Saragusa and taken away by Emily Galvin. Into the box. Sent away by Stephanie Naskrent. Saints keep the pressure on. St. Francis has controlled possession for the most part early on. Judson's defense has played well, but they haven't been able to control the ball in the midfield. Ryan Gonzalez tracks it down for the Eagles. And Gonzalez taps it out of bounds, but she had it deflected by Alexis Mariquin. So it's a throw in for Judson. Easy day in net so far for Joanna Mercado, despite the heavy percentage of time spent on this half of the field. Misspoke before, by the way, about Joanna Mercado. There's more than a misspeak, I guess. It's a case of mistaken identity. I was mixing her up with Ava Fernandez, who's been the primary goalkeeper this year for Judson. Fernandez, the freshman, won the CCAC Player of the Week award last week after securing that shutout against Roosevelt. But Fernandez is out of the lineup today, and instead it is the junior Joanna Mercado. Knocked free by Zoe Vallant. Cleared by the Saints at midfield. Ball stuck in the neutral third now as Judson tries to take control. Can't do it. Kelly Flores jumps in the passing lane, takes it away, and the Saints control on the defensive end. Here comes Galvin. Galvin pushes it ahead to Hernandez, gets it right back. And a foul called on Judson. Andrea Aguirre was tripped up. Means a free kick for the Fighting Saints about 35 yards out to the right of the net. Too far out to try to put a shot on goal here from Kelly Flores, but we'll see if she can set something up for a teammate coming into the box. About 29.5 minutes to play. First half, no score. Flores has it lined up. Ball sent high in front of the net. Mercado comes out to punch it away and knocks it right over to Kelly Leon. Judson pushes it out of bounds, deflected by St. Francis, and that means the Fighting Saints have to back up their offensive players. And Judson is able to relax a little bit as they head to their bench for the first time today. Maria Artelota comes in, and Denise Jimenez comes out. So junior Maria Artelota, first player off the bench for the Eagles today. Galvin for the Fighting Saints pushes to the sideline looking for Hernandez, but wasn't initially going to get to her. Ashley Portel got in the way, but Portel kind of whiffed on it. Left the door open for Hernandez, but the Eagles are able to keep Hernandez from getting to the ball. Instead, it's tapped out of bounds by Kelly Flores off the foot of Peyton Saragusa. That means a throw in for Judson. Portel sends it down the sideline, and Galvin forces Artelota away from the ball. Secures possession once again for the Fighting Saints. Flores passes back to midfield. This is Janacek. Abby Janacek steps up from the defensive line. Has her pass intercepted by Judson, and the Eagles hold on for the moment. Kicked ahead for Josette Perez. Can Perez keep it alive for the Eagles? She cannot. Instead, it's Abby Janacek taking over for the Saints and kicking back to the goalkeeper, Rodriguez. Along the sideline, knocked out by Galvin. Throw in Judson. They force their midfielders upfield, putting themselves in offensive position. They haven't been down here much, trying to maximize their opportunity here, but they cough it up. Daisy Garcia went a little bit too high with the kick. So the foul called on Judson. Free kick for St. Francis with 37.5 minutes, or 27.5 minutes rather, to play in the first half. Galvin off the side of Peyton Saragusa. Another throw in about 10 yards upfield for St. Francis. Taken away by the Eagles. Stephanie Nazkrent passes back. Mariana Espinoza sends it further back. Joanna Mercado, the goalie, pushes it across midfield. Nothing sustained on that side of the field for Judson, though. It's been the case all day. We're right back on the right side of our screens here. It's where we've been pretty much the whole first half. Long shot from Aguirre and a nice save by Joanna Mercado. First shot on goal for either team. In fact, I think the first shot of the game for either team that I can remember. A good save from Mercado. Obviously, first shot on goal. It's her first save. That's what I was talking about before. St. Francis has outshot their opponents over the course of the season. And today, so far, with very limited statistics available, that's the same, but they haven't always been high-quality shots. Aguirre was able to put it on goal, but not much of a chance from that distance. Here's one to the back post. O'Connor tries to keep it in bounds, but can't. Out for a goal kick. It was the first shot for either team. Aguirre took that one from close to 30 yards out. Again, good direction on it, but from that far out, if you can't put some crazy spin on the ball, the goalkeeper, in this case Joanna Mercado, is going to have time to get to the spot, which she did. We're still scoreless. At midfield, Zoe Vallant taps it back. Judson tries to put the pressure on, but sent all the way to Crystal Rodriguez. Taken away by the Eagles at midfield. Stephanie Nazkrent. The Eagles mount an attack here, pushing it right down the center of the field. Tapped into the box. Janacek knocks it loose. Ball up for grabs here. Scooped up by Wierzeniak. Wierzeniak turns, takes the shot off the crossbar. Second chance is good. Maria Artalota scores on the second opportunity for Judson, but she was free after the initial attempt, which is what set it all up. Artalota called for offsides there, so no goal on the board for Judson. Just over 20 minutes in, Judson gets their first shot of the game, but they do not get their first goal, nor their first shot on goal. First shot hit off the crossbar, just missed on the initial attempt. And Artalota looked like she was in position to score on the second effort, but just thought a little bit too quickly on it. On a ball that she may have thought was going in the first place. Ashley Portell takes the kick down the center of the field, headed away by St. Francis. Judson finally starting to create some offensive pressure. We haven't seen it much up to this point. Alexis Mariquin going one-on-one here with Espinoza. Espinoza knocks it loose. The rest of the defense gets back for Judson. Good play by Mariana Espinoza. Michelle Pelayo over to Kelly Flores. Tapped off Mia Okana. Okana sends it to the outside, and the offsides flag goes up against Claudia Hernandez. After the offsides, didn't take long for St. Francis to get the ball back, but Judson able to wrest control away again. We're just about at the halfway point of the first half. No score. It looked like Judson was on the board a few moments ago before offsides was called. Josette Perez taps it forward. A chance in the box again, and this time it's a good goal. Looked like Daisy Garcia, I think, is the one who sent that one in. And Garcia puts Judson on top 1-0. So just a few moments after it looked like they had the first goal of the game. This time they've got it for real. 1-0 Eagles lead. Long way to go in this game, about 3/4 of the way still in front of us. But considering the way St. Francis has struggled to score this season, anytime they fall behind at any stage, it feels just a little bit worse. Flores taps it ahead to Mariquin. Saints know now they need at least 2 goals if they want to come away with their first victory of the season. And again, that's something they've done just once this year. Back on September 6th, they scored twice in a 3-2 loss against Marion. Cross from Okana. Top of the box, Mariquin makes a nice move to her left, now stumbles, and it's taken away by Stephanie Nazkrentz. Good initial move by Mariquin, unable to finish it though. We went about 20 minutes into this game before we saw the first shot from either side. Been a flurry of activity since then. A couple of close chances for Judson culminating in their first goal of the game. Almost had another one. It did go in, but was waved off after the fact. Here's Okana. Tapping towards the sideline. Flores. Kelly Flores' ball is deflected out of bounds by Ashley Portell. Deflected towards the sideline. That's out of bounds on Okana. Headed towards the midfield circle. Artelota all alone as she received the pass. Now she passes ahead towards Garcia into the box. And Rodriguez is able to grab it. Out of bounds. Throw in coming for Judson. Kelly Leone passes off to Ashley Portel. Wozniak's ball goes backwards, secured by Leone. Judson nearly gave it up a couple of times there. Ultimately lost out of bounds off the foot of Kelly Flores. Throw in for Judson. Eagles a few games behind St. Francis overall, just in terms of games played, not in the standings. They are 2 points ahead of St. Francis in the CCAC standings. But the Eagles did not play this week, so this is their first contest in 7 days now. We'll be back out there a little bit faster next time around, Wednesday. They've got their next one as the shot sails well high off the foot of Josette Perez. So Perez's shot goes over the crossbar, out of bounds, goal kick coming for the Fighting Saints. Hannah Schmidt is on the field for Judson. It's out of bounds on the near side. Still going Judson's way. Actually a free kick here for the Eagles. Taken by Ashley Portel. Portel is a senior from Pontoon Beach, Illinois. Heavily involved in today's game. Not sure where Pontoon Beach is. I mean, I've seen a lot of pontoon beaches in Illinois. I just didn't know it was the name of a city. Out of bounds off the right foot of Galvin. Right past Isabel Diaz, standing at midfield right now, wearing the white jersey, getting ready to come in for St. Francis. She'll have to wait till it's the Saints' turn. That was a Judson throw-in. Flores across midfield. Pushes ahead. Long run Okana, and she gives up on it. Ball well out in front of her. And easily into the hands of Joanna Mercado on a bounce. Leone works to the outside. Tries to get rid of the ball. There's nobody there, so a chance for St. Francis. Hernandez passes that to Mariquin. Mariquin forced off the ball. And a good tackle by Mariana Espinoza. Garcia tries to worm her way through a couple of defenders. Doesn't work for her. Taken away by the Saints. Pelayo ahead to Okana. Mia Okana unpressured. Off to Flores. And in from behind Flores, Daisy Garcia, the goal scorer of a few minutes ago, takes the ball away. Garcia's goal was her first. She got 4 points overall for the season, but for the freshman, first collegiate goal. Garcia's out of West Chicago, Illinois. Here's Wozniak. Artelota bloops it into the box. Hernandez tries to head it away towards the sideline, but it'll go out the back instead. And that's a corner kick for Judson. It's just an awkward position there. Would have been a tough play for Crystal Rodriguez, so Claudia Hernandez did all she could do, just knocked it loose. But a tough part of the field to do that. Means a corner kick for the Eagles, already ahead 1-0. late in the first half. Kick comes in right in front of the net. There's a header, and there's the second goal. Garcia again, this time off the corner kick. And it's 2-0 Eagles. With 15:27 to play in the first half. Daisy Garcia scoreless through her first 5 collegiate games. And now she's got 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. As Judson has taken a commanding 2-0 lead in the first half. Aguirre passes off to Okana. Okana squares it up from the corner. There's a shot from Diaz, diving save Mercado. The ball kicks out of bounds for a St. Francis corner kick. Well, the Saints were burned on one of these a few moments ago on the other side of the field. Now we'll see if they can get Judson back, scoring off of a corner kick themselves. Kelly Flores will do the honors. Flores' kick punched away by Mercado. The goalkeeper was the first one to touch it off the corner. Deflected back to Janacek. She'll try to keep things pushing forward for the Fighting Saints in front of the net. There's a header, and that's a goal, St. Francis. A collision at the end of the play as Mercado came up to try to make the stop. I believe it's Isabel Diaz who scored that one for St. Francis, and as she came in with the header, she and Mercado collided with one another. Both women hit the ground, and both are back up and moving around freely now. So that's good. Also good for St. Francis is they're on the board. A flurry of activity over the last 10 minutes. This game slow to get going. Nobody had taken a shot over the first 18 minutes of the game. Since then, we've had 3 goals scored here in the first half. It's 2-1 now, Judson on top. Nice job by Diaz to not only score the goal, but take the contact and keep her composure to head that one in. So Diaz, the freshman from Spain, scores her first St. Francis goal. She had taken just 4 shots all season coming into play today. Hasn't appeared in every game. But she pulls the Fighting Saints back within 1. A lot of offensive activity in the first half today. And that goal for Diaz came less than a minute after the one that made it 2-0 Judson. Garcia scored twice for the Eagles. Diaz answers for St. Francis. And now the Fighting Saints look for the equalizer with just under 14 minutes to play in the first half. Still 14 minutes to play in the first half. Had a lot of stoppages here because of all the goals recently. Pushed into the box, another chance for Artelota, but sliding in, Crystal Rodriguez makes the stop. That's out of bounds. It'll go back to Judson. Good save by Rodriguez. Maria Artelota has been heavily involved. Scored the first goal that was waved off on offsides. And then had the assist on the second goal, second actual goal. And that time had a good run that nearly put her back on the board. Alexis Mariquin grabs a seat for St. Francis. Adamari Carrera is the player who came in for Mariquin. That's Carrera tapping to Flores, who works her way back to the middle of the field and pushes across to the other end. Far side, Abby Janacek works her way into the midfield circle and pushes across midfield, trying to get it to Litzy Mendez. Taken away by Judson and pushed down the far sideline. There's the cross intercepted by Emily Galvin, and Galvin taps it right back in the hands, or actually in the feet of Crystal Rodriguez. Rodriguez decided not to pick that one up. Judson will have it here. 12 minutes to go in the first. Leone, nifty ball work, keeps it alive for Judson, pushed deep into the corner, and the Saints let it go. Good job by Galvin, making sure that Mara Quintero there was not able to get to the ball. Let it roll all the way out for a goal kick. 2-1 Judson. They've gotten 2 goals from Daisy Garcia in the span of just about 10 minutes. And then St. Francis, less than 1 minute later, after the second goal for Judson, was able to respond with Isabel Diaz's first goal. And so the score sits at 2-1 with just over 11 minutes to play before halftime. Big goal for the Fighting Saints. They've scored now in back-to-back contests for the second time this year. It's their 6th goal overall in 9 games played. Long run Carrera, and Adamari Carrera can't get to the ball. Goes out of bounds for a goal kick. Mercado rolls to the outside. Still deep in the attacking zone for St. Francis. Judson is trying to clear it. Down the sideline, not able to do so. Here's Pelayo. Michelle Pelayo gives it up to Aguirre. Roll in front of the net. O'Connell, one touch. The shot is deflected by Judson. And out of bounds for an Eagles throw. Goal scored by Diaz was the first goal allowed this year by Judson in conference play. Foul is called on Zoe Vallant, who wasn't too pleased to hear the whistle. Free kick for the Eagles. Remember, they didn't play that second conference game. They were off this week. This is just number 2 for them. Still, they went nearly 3 halves. That is such a thing. 3 halves doesn't really make sense by itself, but 3 halves of 2 separate games. They went almost that long without allowing a goal. After shutting out Roosevelt, they find themselves in a tight game today. Good offense so far for Judson has kept St. Francis backpedaling a little bit. Cutting the deficit to 1 before halftime was huge. There's still plenty of time before halftime. 9 minutes still to go. Try to add more than that. Run for Adamari Carrera. Carrera can't get to the ball. Instead, it's Hannah Schmidt knocking it away for Judson. Carrera gets it back, tries for the cross, knocked out of bounds by Judson. Here comes a corner kick for the Fighting Saints. Well, not that you need me to tell you that corner kicks are a benefit to have, but Judson did score off of a corner kick earlier directly. St. Francis's goal wasn't a direct assist from the corner kick, but it was the end of a sequence that was set up by a corner. This time they're on the near side. Previous one, they were over on the far end of the field. Kelly Flores will do kicking. Flores, high to the back post. There's a header, and it's in. Another corner kick results in another goal. Second time off of a header from Isabel Diaz, and we're tied at 2. Just over 8 minutes to play in the first half. And we've had 4 goals already scored in this game. All of them in under 20 minutes. And all of them by freshmen. Just 2 different players have scored. Daisy Garcia scored twice for Judson. Isabel Diaz now has 2 goals for the Fighting Saints. Brand new game here late in the first half. We saw Judson do it earlier in the game. Now St. Francis has done it off the corner kick. Flores right to the back post where Diaz was waiting for the header. St. Francis early in this half dominated possession. They only got one shot off, but a lot of time on the other end of the field as Judson tries to get that goal back. There's a shot over the net. Good look at it from Josette Perez. Perez may have rushed it a tad. She kicks the ball too high over the crossbar, out of bounds. So a goal kick for St. Francis. After St. Francis had controlled possession time so much, Judson came with some quick strikes as Garcia tries for her third goal of the game. Her shot is saved on one hop by Crystal Rodriguez. As soon as the Eagles took that 2-0 lead, it became really easy to forget that St. Francis has played well today. It just seemed like Judson was in control. They were on the scoreboard, but not in terms of gameplay. A mix-up in the attacking third for St. Francis here, but Judson was able to clear it, and now the clock stops as there's a player down on the offensive end of the field for the Fighting Saints. That's Isabel Diaz, who has been shaken up a couple of times now and has also scored 2 goals. First time she was shaken up was on that first goal. She headed it in, but as she was doing so, she collided with goalkeeper Joanna Mercado, who came in trying to make the save. 2 of them got tangled up. Both went down feeling worse than their best. Diaz was able to get up and walk it off. So was Mercado. Both have stayed in the game since then. But Diaz is hurt once again. Already being looked at by the training staff, and now her head coach comes out to talk with her as well. 2-2, we're tied. 39th minute at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Eagles scored the first 2 goals. St. Francis responded with the next 2. Diaz scored both of them for the Fighting Saints. She is hurt now, but she's up on her feet and walking off the field under her own strength. She may depart the game. She'll definitely depart for a little bit, but it might be longer than that. Sofelina Valles Vargas is at midfield, ready to come in, along with Maita Bernal. So a few players will have to check out for the Fighting Saints. Diaz is one of them. Now Bernal comes in. Valles Vargas still off at midfield, so she'll come in during the next stop. Score is 2-2. I was going through the game trends a minute ago, talking about how St. Francis had really controlled possession early. After Judson took that 2-goal lead, they seemed to be in control, but as far as gameplay was concerned, that never really was the case. And now the score probably more accurately reflects that, now that it's tied at 2. Saints would like to turn that tie into a lead. Another injured player for St. Francis. Abby Janacek a little slow to rise to her feet. Janacek seems to be doing okay, but the training staff has been called out. I don't know if she's bleeding. If she is, she'll have to come out for a little bit. And now they're looking at a Judson player as well. It's Maria Artelota. Janacek is coming to the bench. That might be the opportunity to bring Sofalina Valles-Vargas in. She's been waiting to check in. I don't think it was going to be for Janacek. Janacek is not going to come out. She does have to come out immediately because the trainer was called for her, but she'll come right back in. Maria Artalota is checking out for Judson. Grabbing at her head, but she's ready to go right back in as well. So both injured players had to come out, but immediately re-enter play. Neither one of them seemed to be seriously hurt. So maybe an unnecessary delay in the game there. Here's Flores dribbling it across midfield. Isabel Diaz runs out of room. Taken by Judson. It's Artalota. Like I said, didn't sit out very long, just a second or so, literally. Carrera taps it to her right, where it's intercepted by Hannah Schmidt. Schmidt tries to turn it upfield, deflected out of bounds. Artalota's pass intercepted by Hernandez, out of bounds. Flores is fouled. Alex Wierzeniak a little too aggressive trying to take the ball away, so Flores gets to line up for a free kick. Defense backs up for the Eagles. 2-2, we're tied. Judson scored the first two. Saints the last two. Into the box, and it rolls towards the back line and out of bounds. Kelly Flores comes off the field. Finally, the Saints are able to make that substitution they've been trying to make for the last 3 minutes or so of game time. Sofalina Valles-Vargas is in. Artalota stepping up. Emily Galvin knocks it downfield for the Fighting Saints defense. But on the other end, it's offsides against St. Francis. Diaz, I think, is the one called for that. A lot going on in the first half for Diaz. She scored both of the team's goals. Down to the final 3 minutes before halftime. Zoe Vallant towards the far corner. Nobody there wearing white. Easily knocked out of bounds by Judson, but that means we've got another corner kick coming. Corner kicks have been the order of the day. 3 of our 4 goals have come either directly or indirectly off of corners. Who's going to take it for St. Francis? Maita Bernal was heading out there, but it won't be her. She was waved off by Litzy Flores. Ball poked into the air towards the near sideline. And it appears to be cleared by Florence. Here's Diaz. Diaz pass intercepted by Leon. And a whistle blows against St. Francis. Clock stops as Fernando Ibarra, today's referee, has a few words for Maria Artalota. Now the ball back in play. Clock running once more. We're under 2 minutes to play in the half. Wierzeniak is working hard against Valeria Valles Garcia. Flores passes it back. Janacek works it around to the near side once again. Claudia Hernandez. Hernandez dribbles, rolls it across midfield. Fellow defender Zoe Vallant with 2 defenders on her. Foul called on St. Francis. Clock stops again here, and we're going to see a yellow card given. Yellow card, I believe, to Zoe Vallant of St. Francis. First one of those we've seen today. Kelly Leone sends it into the box. Artelota steps in. It's in front of the net and knocked in by Judson. Artelota was the last one to touch that for the Eagles. Crystal Rodriguez stepped out in front of the net to try to come up with the stop. Artelota was able to trickle it past her, and there was nobody else in blue in front of the net. It was rolling so slowly towards the goal. The Saints for a moment looked like they were going to have a chance to knock it free defensively, but instead it was knocked in. So it's 3-2 Eagles. Final minute of play in the first half. It's been a crazy first half. 5 goals on the board. And Judson, for the second time today, is in the lead. They led 2-0. And now it's a 1-goal edge, 3-2. It is likely how the first half will end. We'll see if Judson can get one more shot off here before then. Hannah Schmidt's ball is intercepted and cleared out of bounds. Throw in for Judson. It'll be taken by Ashley Portell, but she's in no hurry. Down to the final 20 seconds. And the Saints are not going to have enough time, I don't think, to work it down to get one more shot off. Well, at the last few seconds of the clock run down here, and we will go into halftime with Judson on top of St. Francis. 3-2. They took a 2-0 lead. Fighting Saints fought back, tied it up, but the Eagles in the final minute of the first half put in one more, and that's where we stand right now. 45 minutes of soccer still in front of us. If it's anything like the first half, there might be a few more twists and turns still in store for us. Right now, I'm going to step aside. 15 minutes to go before the start of the second half. Judson leads St. Francis 3-2. 45 minutes on the clock as we get set to start the second half. Here in Joliet, University of St. Francis taking on Judson University in CCAC action. Terry Bonadonna with you once again as the Fighting Saints look to bounce back from a 1-goal deficit. It was a wild first half. Neither team was able to get a shot off for close to 20 minutes in the first half, and then all of a sudden the goals started coming fast and loose. First two were scored by Judson freshman Daisy Garcia. Garcia scored one off of a corner kick and another one off of a feed right in front of the net. Was able to get her first goal of the season, her first collegiate goal, and the second one just about 10 minutes after that on the header following the corner kick. So it was 2-0 Judson. St. Francis answered twice with their 2 goals coming from their freshman, Isabel Diaz. Diaz scored both times off of corner kicks, one directly off a kick from Kelly Flores, the other one off a corner kick from Flores that was deflected back out. Saints worked it into the box again, and Flores was able to pick up another assist on the goal from Diaz, a header from Diaz right in front of the net. In fact, she withstood a collision with goalkeeper Joanna Mercado to put it in. It was an impressive score, and it was the first goal of the game for St. Francis. They got the second a few minutes after that off of the direct corner kick, a header from the back post for Diaz that made it 2-2. And then in the final minute of the first half, the final goal of the half was scored by Judson, and it came from junior Maria Artelota. 53 seconds left in the first half at the time that goal was scored. And so that flurry of activity led to where we are right now, a 3-2 score. Judson has outshot St. Francis 8-6 so far. Shots on goal for Judson 5 and for St. Francis 3. We do have a change in net for the Fighting Saints. Katie Morellis is in. Morellis, a sophomore out of Joliet West High School, is getting her first action of the season. Crystal Rodriguez, prior to this point, had played every minute of the season thus far. But Rodriguez struggled, making just 2 saves and allowing 3 goals in the first half. An early chance perhaps for Morellis as the Eagles work it into the box. And Bianacek is able to fight that ball out of bounds along the sideline for a throw-in. Michelle Pelayo in on the defense on that play as well. But an early start for Judson as they try to create a goal-scoring opportunity in the first minute plus of this second half. They get a throw in here from Ryan Gonzalez. Gonzalez picked up an assist in the first half. A lot of people on the scoreboard early on. Actually, it's not true. There were 5 goals scored, so I was thinking there were a lot of people who had a hand in those goals being scored, and there were a few, but primarily it was just 2 players. 4 of the 5 goals were scored by either Isabel Diaz for St. Francis or Daisy Garcia for Judson. Here's Flores pushing it ahead for the Fighting Saints as they make their first run of the second half. Down on the far sideline, sent to Litzy Mendez. Mendez trying to cross it, and instead the ball is forced over to the goalkeeper. Joanna Mercado able to scoop it up. Garcia has the 2 goals. Artelota 1 for Judson. Leon Gonzalez and Artelota each have an assist for the Eagles. For St. Francis, both goals were scored by the same player, Isabel Diaz, and both goals were assisted by the same player, Kelly Flores. Flores on the ground right now. Play did not stop as the Saints continued their attack. But the Eagles were able to come up with a stop. Ball still in St. Francis's possession, but they've worked it all the way back to the defensive side. Pushed ahead. Peyton Saragusa is there to take it away for the Eagles. Lost in all the goal scoring of that first half. There was a lot of action aside from that as well. 14 fouls were called in the first half. 8 on the Saints, 6 on the Eagles. We saw 1 yellow card given out to Zoe Vallant of St. Francis. There were a handful of injuries. It seemed like the clock was stopped for a much longer period of time than it typically is in the first half. See if things settle down a little bit here in the second half, or if crazy amounts of activity continue. Mendez trying to make the ladder true. She sends it towards the net. It's kept in bounds. There's a shot and a save from Mercado. It was Litzy Flores who got the shot off. Nice setup by the Fighting Saints, but Mercado put herself in position to make a nice save. Her third save today. Make that her second save today off the shot from Flores. Just about 4 minutes into the second half. 3-2, Judson has the lead. All of the goals were scored in the first half, including one with less than a minute to play. That was the go-ahead goal for Judson. And if the Saints do end up falling by one today, you know they'll be ruining that one. Not that it should have been an easy one to stop, but just the fact that you give up a goal in the last minute anytime something like that happens so late in a half or a period, it stings a little bit more. It was a ball that for a moment looked like it could have been stopped by the Fighting Saints. It got past the goalkeeper, Crystal Rodriguez, but there were a few defenders there, and they just weren't quite able to come up with the stop in front of the net. So it put Judson ahead. Saints have a new goalkeeper now. Katie Morales is in, making her first appearance this year. Both teams going with new goalies. Andrea Aguirre tries to take advantage of Judson's inexperienced keeper, but sends it wide to the left and out of bounds. I don't mean new goalies for the second half. In the case of Judson, it is still Joanna Mercado out there, the same player who started in net, but it was her first start of the year. Another chance for Mendez in the box, and Mendez is fought off the ball by Stephanie Naskrent. And out of bounds off of Naskrent. So we've got a corner kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. 3 goals have been scored either directly or indirectly off of corner kicks today. There have only been 5. So 60% of them have resulted in goals. We'll see if the Saints can do that again here. Flores plays it in short. The ball sent towards the goal and just wide to the left. Close call for Judson. There have been a couple of them already this half, 6 minutes since intermission. They've all gone the Eagles' way, but the Fighting Saints are putting the pressure on early in this second half. They've had a few shots missed just wide to the left side. One save for Mercado here in the second half as well. St. Francis trying to keep the pressure on, but it's lost out of bounds. Freed up by Flores there. Andrea Aguirre stays on sides, into the box. There's the cross, and it's a little bit behind Mendez. Litzy Flores knocks it off the face of Daisy Garcia. Here's Zoe Vallant coming in at the back end of the play. She launches it well out of bounds to the right, but another chance for St. Francis. Keeping the Eagles on their toes. Judson makes a substitution. Mara Quintero is in. Alex Warziniak checks out. Out of bounds for an Eagles throw-in. Fight for possession, won by Ryan Gonzalez. Gonzalez not able to keep it. It's Andrea Aguirre surrounded by 4 Eagles and finally dragged to the ground. Foul called on Judson. Flores is ready to take the free kick. But a conversation first. Aguirre being talked to for St. Francis along with Quintero for Judson. Quintero was called for the foul. She dragged Aguirre to the ground. And then Aguirre walked past her as she tried to pull herself up. I'm not sure if words were exchanged or what. There were no cards given there. But the referee, Fernando Ibarra, did stop the clock to talk with the 2 players. Now the free kick from Flores. In front of the net, headed right on one bounce into the hands of Joanna Mercado. Another stop made by Mercado. She's had a good second half so far. The Saints keep pushing her. Here's Aguirre. Nice setup. The shot is saved again by Mercado. Like I said, she's had a really nice half, but the defense of Judson is trying to alleviate some of that pressure. Because usually in cases like this, if the pressure stays on, that dam eventually breaks. Hasn't happened yet. The Saints were able to break through a couple of times in the first half, but they trail by 1 here early in the second. Throw in at midfield for St. Francis. Janacek rolls it out to Pelayo. Pelayo streaking down the sideline. Back to the center, kicked down into the corner, and a foul called as Aguirre hits the ground. Hit by Stephanie Naskrent, and Naskrent is shown the yellow card. "36 minutes to play in the second half, and the trainer is called on once again. Bodies flying all over the place. It's been a very physical game. 5 goals have been scored. Just a ton of action today. 5 goals scored, by the way, match the most in any St. Francis game this year. And all 5 this time were scored in the first half. 3 matches the most goals they've given up in a game. 2 matches the most goals they've scored in a game. And again, all of that done in just 45 minutes today. Judson's another team that doesn't typically play high-scoring games. 5 also matches the most goals scored in any game that they've been a part of this year. They beat Graceland 4-1 back in August. So they're still 1 shy of their season high in terms of goals scored. Aguirre's helped off the field, and now Flores is ready for the free kick. Sent to the backside of the net, headed away by Judson. Let's see, Mendez tracks it down. Mendez tries to turn it inside, and she's tripped up. So a free kick coming for St. Francis from down in the corner. It's about 10 yards outside the corner where they'll get this. So Flores might have the option of trying to put this one on goal herself. Sent to the outside instead. Claudia Hernandez steps in. Her ball on the ground, deflected back by Judson. Hernandez pops it back in front of the net, and there are a couple of Saints offsides. We've got a whistle at the point of kick, though, and I think a foul on Judson here is going to create another free kick for the Saints. Hernandez was tripped up. Yeah, Hernandez sent that one over the heads of the defenders. There were a couple of fighting Saints there, but no chance at scoring because they were all offsides. The yellow card is given to, let's see who got it there. I think that's Artalota. Maria Artalota gets the yellow card. Just under 35 minutes to play in the second half. The Saints were bailed out a little bit on that one because, again, they were not going to have an opportunity to score. Now they are. About 27 yards out, Flores approaches. Flores sends it to the backside. Poked in front of the net and knocked in by St. Francis. We're tied at 3. Not a corner kick that time, but another set piece leads to a goal. And that's been the story of the day off the yellow card. St. Francis knocks one in. Flores' free kick went to the back post again. She's had success doing that today. And then poked back in front of the net. I didn't see who got it last for the Fighting Saints. I'll let you know in a minute who scored that goal. But we are tied at 3. The Fighting Saints have hit a new season high in scoring. And a long way to go, with an opportunity to add more to it. Zoe Vallant, the goal scorer for the Fighting Saints, pushed deep into the attacking zone for Judson for the first time here in this second half. The ball has been almost entirely on the other side of the field for the first 10 minutes. First goal of the season for number 4, Zoe Vallant, the junior. Defender for St. Francis, who came up for the free kick and tied it up 3-3. Second time today that St. Francis has erased the deficit and tied the score. They were down 2 goals earlier. Came back to tie it up. This time they erase a 1-goal deficit. Here come the Saints again. It's Litzy Mendez rolling it out to Vallant. Pass to the outside. O'Connor. Mia O'Connor chips it in front of the net. Stepping out and diving on top of the ball, Joanna Mercado. Another collision with Mercado. Second time today that she and a St. Francis player have run into each other. That time it was Litzy Mendez. Mercado had already made the save by the time she collided with Mendez. Able to fall on top of it a second time, although by then, I don't know if I had heard the whistle already, but play had been stopped or would have been stopped, so the Saints wouldn't have been able to score on the rebound. Good play by Mercado. She's had a number of them and really has played well despite having allowed the 3 goals. St. Francis offense has just constantly pressured her this second half. Pelayo puts it in front of them. Another chance for St. Francis. Vallant's shot this time deflected by Daisy Garcia. Never made it to the goalkeeper. Saints will get another opportunity here with Flores working it ahead. She takes a shot. Saved again by Mercado. Deflected. Didn't fall on top of it. The ball is still live, and Judson has to roll it out of bounds. So even after scoring the goal and tying it up, the Saints have not slowed down offensively. They have been on a mission this whole second half. It's been impressive to watch for a team that has struggled to score all year. 3 goals today. You have to go back 5 games to add up their last 3 goals prior to today. Impressive run here for Garcia, working her way past a couple of defenders. Passed out to Gonzalez on the right side. Gonzalez sends it back in front of the net to Garcia. Sliding, it's knocked out of bounds by St. Francis. Morales was coming up from the net, but Hernandez knocked it out. So it's a corner kick here for Judson off a great run from their freshman Daisy Garcia. Maria Artelota, who already has both a goal and an assist today, takes the corner kick. Artelota shoots it past any of her intended targets. Chased down on the back end of the play by Kelly Leon. Leon rolls it into the box, turning and shooting. Peyton Saragusa's ball is knocked out of bounds by Katie Morales. Another corner kick coming up for Judson. Good play by Morales. And Artelota trudges down to the other side of the field where she'll take another corner kick, this time from the opposite end. Kick comes in, deflected away by Hernandez, right back out of bounds. 3rd corner kick in a row coming up for the Eagles. Three we're tied. Half hour to play. Another one comes in from Artelota in front of the net. Knocked away by the Saints. Top of the box. And cleared by Litzy Mendez. Portel is able to keep it alive for Judson, but she loses it out of bounds. First 4 goals of this game were all scored by freshmen. 2 for Daisy Garcia of Judson, 2 for Isabel Diaz of St. Francis. And each team has had another goal scorer since then. Maria Artelota made it 3-2 in favor of the Eagles. The Saints responded with their junior Zoe Vallant scoring her first goal of the year. Down into the corner, Diaz tries to chase it down, but it's out of bounds. St. Francis has 5 shots on goal in the second half alone. But Joanna Mercado has made 4 saves in this second half, getting her first start of the year in net today after Ava Fernandez helped her team to a shutout, making 8 saves against Roosevelt last Saturday. Here's Janacek rolling it ahead to Vallant and intercepted by Leon. Daisy Garcia has it in open space again. Leon and Garcia back and forth, and intercepted this time by the Fighting Saints. Litzy Flores loses the ball. Ryan Gonzalez passes it back ahead to Leon. Nice defensive play by Claudia Hernandez. Foul called on the Fighting Saints. Free kick for Judson. Just under 28 minutes to play in the game. Mentioned at the outset that St. Francis does outshoot their opponents for the season. Today, an even more dramatic number. They are +6 in the shots column. They average about 1.5 shots more per game than their opponents. Free kick comes in. That's a shot, but it's over the net and out of bounds. Portel tried to score off the free kick. A little bit too high from her. Mariquin back in for St. Francis. Bernal is back in as well. Alpilar makes a couple of substitutions for the Fighting Saints. Trying to keep everybody fresh. It is a warm day out there. Not terribly hot, but certainly hotter than you would expect for this time of year. The temperature just north of 80 degrees. Mariquin tries to control this ball. First touch since she just checked back in. Saints end up losing it out of bounds. Throw-in coming up for the Eagles. Mariana Espinoza lobs it down the sideline, headed by Artelota, taken away by Abby Janacek. St. Francis tries to reverse field with it. Judson takes it away. There's a shot, and it's just a little bit wide from Saragusa. Morales was way outside the goal. No defenders in front of her as Saragusa was able to take it away for Judson in perfect position and rushed the shot knowing that net was not going to stay open forever. Defense was going to close in at some point. So she got the shot off quickly, and fortunately for the Fighting Saints, just rolled it wide to the right. Still 3-3. Judson has not scored yet this half. They carried a 3-2 lead into the break. Eagles haven't had too many offensive chances. They had their best one a moment ago, and now they've got another good one working their way ahead. At the edge of the box, rolled over to Kelly Leon. Leon's got a couple of defenders in front of her, pushes to the right side, and knocked away by St. Francis. Janacek was able to clear it. Judson tries to get the ball back and restart this attack with Jimenez losing it out of bounds, knocked off by St. Francis. Injured player down for the Fighting Saints, and that'll stop things once again. Janacek, I believe, who had the stop a minute ago, fell to the ground immediately afterwards. So the clock stops, 24:43. Still to play in today's game as we resume action. Judson throws it in. Artelota down to the back line and out of bounds. Goal kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. Haley Bartlaga is coming back in for the Fighting Saints. First time we've seen her here in the second half. Andrea Aguirre returns to play as well. Bartlaga loses it off her first touch here. Obviously her first touch since re-entering. Just came back in. Artelota turns and sends it ahead to Jimenez. Jimenez, nice ball. Gets it through a couple of defenders. Shot saved by Morales. Josette Perez comes up empty off a good opportunity. And we remain tied. Alex Wierzeniak returns to play for Judson. Both teams using their benches pretty liberally today. Claudia Hernandez clears it. Hernandez and Wierzeniak actually go back a long ways. They were teammates in both high school and in college. They both transferred from the College of Lake County. Wierzeniak to Judson, and Hernandez, of course, to St. Francis. Going head-to-head right now as Morales steps out of the goal and makes the stop. Another missed chance for Judson. Momentum has certainly shifted in this direction, though. St. Francis, for the first 15 minutes or so of the second half, completely dominated possession. They had the ball on the offensive side of the field pretty much the whole way. And finally, they were able to turn it into a goal. Even after the goal scored, they had a few more chances that were snuffed out by Judson. But over the last 5 to 10 minutes, the Eagles have turned things around. They've had more possession time than the Saints. Not right now. Saints try to regain their form from early in the half. Alexis Mariquin crosses field over the head of Litzy Mendez. Judson is able to clear it. Fight for the loose ball. Won by the Eagles, so the Saints are not able to resume their attack. And we've got a whistle and another player down for St. Francis. Zoe Vallant grabbing at her right leg. Another visit from the trainer over halfway through the second. Just about 22 minutes to play in today's game, as tight as can be. It was 2-0 Judson in the first half, and I don't want to say that it felt over at 2-0, but Fighting Saints haven't been able to score more than 2 goals in a game this year. So it seemed like it would take a major effort from them to get back into it. They put forth that effort. They scored those 2 goals that they needed to erase the deficit. Appeared to have a tie score going into halftime, but in the final seconds of the first half, Judson was able to score the go-ahead goal and make it 3-2. And the Saints came back for a second time. Here in the second half, they knotted it up at 3, and that's where we've been ever since. Remember, it's an unseasonably warm day. Not that unseasonable. It's less than 10 degrees above normal temperatures. But still, on a warm day like this, always have to remember to stay hydrated. I think Zoe Vallant looked like she was cramping up out there, so that might have been the issue. She walks off the field gingerly, but she is carrying herself off without any help. It looks like cramps for Vallant, so we'll see if she can stretch that out and return to action in a little bit. She's been good today. Always good on the defensive end. Today she's contributed offensively as well, scoring a goal. We're ready to have the ball put back in play, and Flores sends it back to Mercado, the goalkeeper, giving Judson possession back as we return to action. Since the score was tied at 3, both teams have had a few opportunities to score. Good defensive plays have been made by both sides. Adamari Carrera comes on for St. Francis, replacing Litzy Mendez, who I bet we'll probably see again before the end of the game, but she's getting a chance to rest here. Saints throw it in along the far sideline. Knocked out of bounds again by Judson. Bernal tries to keep it alive for the Fighting Saints. Again, the Eagles knock it out. There's a ball sent into the box. Haley Bartlaga chases it towards the back line. Can't reach it. So the Fighting Saints lose it this time. Out for a goal kick. Game 1 of a doubleheader here. The men's teams will go head-to-head at 3:30. St. Francis against Judson. The rivalry continues after this. This has been a tight game. It was a wild back-and-forth first half with 5 total goals scoring. Second half's been a little bit more quiet than that, although that could change over the final 20 minutes. Still quite a bit of action here. The Saints have played one of their better offensive halves all year. Foul called on St. Francis here, setting up a free kick for Judson from back against their own line. Even though they scored 2 goals in the first and only 1 here in the second, this has been a much more impressive offensive half for St. Francis than the first was. Maybe not in the results, but just in the way that they've looked. Really controlling the ball and setting up good chances for themselves in a way that they've scarcely done all year. And they haven't had a bad offensive year, again, other than the results. Here's Daisy Garcia with a takeaway. Garcia tripped up by Janacek, and it's a clean tackle from Janacek. Good defense from St. Francis. The results haven't been there for the Fighting Saints, but the opportunities have. There's a cross out in front of Alexis Mariquin. Mariquin, the first one to reach that ball, keeps it in bounds until she doesn't. It finally does roll out. They came in averaging 15 shots per game, same number they've got today. So again, they haven't played poorly, but they haven't had those finishers that they've needed. That's too far for Mariquin. A little bit too much heat on that pass from Abby Janacek. Saints turn possession over to Judson. Try to get it right back. Weren't able to do so initially. Nobody's controlled it yet. Flores tripped up, and that will give St. Francis control for a free kick. Maria Quintero tripped her fellow number 19. And Flores brings it back to the same spot for a free kick. Kick sent in front of the net. Played on a bounce by Mercado. She was not able to stick it, but it's headed out by St. Francis. Bernal misses to the outside of the net. Mercado has had a good day. She's made a lot of saves, but it's one thing she has occasionally had a problem with, not catching the ball. Right there, if she had caught it off the first bounce cleanly, it would have been end of story. But instead, she let it deflect off her hands and created a rebound opportunity for Bernal, who unfortunately sent it wide for St. Francis. Good run for Warziniak. Warziniak blows by Janacek. Stepping up Morellis, and Morellis forces her to the outside. A missed shot from Warziniak. The senior Alex Warziniak had full head of steam behind her. Great run past Janacek. But Morellis deflected her attention enough that she put it wide to the right side. And the Saints catch a break. A break in that near goal for Judson turned into nothing, but they made it for themselves. Good play by Morellis, who has performed admirably in net so far today. Came in for the second half. Her first half of soccer this year. It's been all Rodriguez in net up till now, and Morellis has acquitted herself well so far. Hasn't allowed a goal. 3 saves. Cleared by Diaz. Hernandez out of bounds with the right foot. Throw in for Judson. From a long way out, that's out of bounds from the Eagles. Goal kick for St. Francis. We're approaching the 15-minute mark remaining in this game. Tied up at 3. Considering they were down by 2 goals, Saints could think of it as kind of a moral victory if they do come up with the 1 point and a tie today, but they've played well enough offensively that you know that's not what they're thinking of with 15 minutes to go. They want to get that 1 more goal in. They want their first win of the year. They've got a chance to get it. Ashley Portel throws it in for Judson. Big game for Judson in that a win today would make them 2-0 in conference play. Alexis Mariquin turns it back towards the middle of the field. Andrea Aguirre well wide on her shot, out of bounds. To have 6 points on the standings just a week into conference play gives them a big leg up going forward. So both teams have a lot to play for. I don't think anybody will be totally content with a tie, which is not to say you're upset about it, but it's not what anybody wants right now. Bartlaga tries to turn it upfield, but has the ball deflected out of bounds by Mariana Espinoza. Let's see, Mendez is back in for the Saints, as expected. Figured when she came out that it would be just a short breather. Mariquin into Diaz. Diaz rolls it back into Haley Bartlaga, knocked off her foot. Here's Mendez getting herself back involved in a hurry. Hernandez rolls it up the middle of the field. Aguirre turns and tries to pass. Nobody there wearing white. Eagles on the counterattack. Down the far sideline, it's Saragusa. Saragusa had it deflected initially by Okana. Got the ball right back. Kelly Leone tries to push it ahead. O'Connor prevents her from getting a good look. Still in bounds. There's the cross. Deflected once by St. Francis. Still loose in front of the net and now cleared for good by the University of St. Francis. Out of bounds for a Judson throw-in. Ball tossed into Jimenez. Rolled to the outside, Warziniak, and out in front of her foot. It rolls out the sideline, out of bounds for a St. Francis throw. "12 minutes to play as the ball is tossed in to Diaz. Here come the Fighting Saints working their way to midfield. O'Connor. Mia O'Connor zigzags back and forth, going to the far side once again. Headed by Mendez to the front of the box, deflected back to the outside by Bartlaga. And the Saints can't keep it. Get it back at midfield though. Janacek. A little too much carry on that ball, taken away by Judson and a foul called. Mara Quintero was knocked to the ground and now a yellow card given. Kelly Flores shown the card with a little bit over 11 minutes to play. 3-3 we're tied. It was 3-2 Judson at halftime. St. Francis has scored the only goal this half. Judson tries to change that. They've got it in the box. Too many white shirts in the way for Judson to get a clean shot off. Still trying to gather possession together, though. Ball loose, not cleared yet, deflected. There's the shot, and it's wide to the right from Josette Perez. Golden opportunity for Perez and the Eagles. And just wide. Maybe the best chance that Judson has had here in the second half. Come up empty, still 3-3. Second half, things have calmed down a little bit, although I don't want to speak too soon. We still have over 10 minutes to play. Here come the Fighting Saints. It's Aguirre pushing it ahead on the far side of the field. Pelayo turns for the cross, deflected by Mercado. The ball loose in front of the net and cleared into the air by Judson towards the sideline. Alexis Mariquin fights for possession back. Jimenez keeps it in bounds for the Eagles. And play continues. Here's Flores making a move to her left. Flores is tripped up. We've got a free kick. Jimenez given the yellow card. I was about to say the second half has calmed down a little bit more what we expected in today's game, but all of a sudden, a frenzy over the last minute. They're two good defensive teams. I thought coming into today, one goal might be the decider. And instead, 3 goals hasn't even been enough to win. Saints have outshot the Eagles 18-15. It's been pretty evenly matched. Flores, free kick. Curls it in front of the net, deflected away by Judson. And back out of bounds. Throw-in coming up. Mariquin, one touch to the back line, out of bounds. That'll give the Eagles a chance to clear it. Shots on goal has been 9-8. So both total shots and shots on goal have been pretty close. Free kick for Mercado. She plays it short. To the outside, out of bounds. Zoe Vallant is back in for St. Francis. Claudia Hernandez sits out. Vallant left a little while ago with what looked to be leg cramps. Mariquin takes a shot high in the air. It bounces wide of the net and keeps rolling towards the sideline, staying in play. Knocked out by Jimenez. It's going to be a corner kick for the Saints. Flores sets it up for the corner kick. Kelly Flores approaches, sends it in with the right foot. She went short with it, deflected by Judson, and a foul called on St. Francis. Sets up a free kick for the Eagles. Running low on time here. Doesn't take long. Judson scored one in the final minute of the first half. But somebody's got to make a move soon. So we're at just 8 minutes remaining now. Here's O'Connor. O'Connor hesitates, moves around one defender, rolls it to the outside. Mariquin centers to Diaz. Diaz has already scored twice today, looking for her third goal. Never made it to the net. Saints wanted a foul called there, didn't get it. Play continues. St. Francis is back in possession. Mendez works her way to the outside. Far end of the field. The shot is saved. Deflected. Diaz couldn't get there in time for the rebound. Initial shot from Andrea Aguirre there. She steps into this play again, along with Michelle Pelayo, but neither one of them can get to it. Instead, it's sent away by Judson. There's a push and a foul called on St. Francis. And a yellow card given. Yellow card to Mendez that time. They've been running rampant in this second half. We saw one yellow card in the first half. I believe that is the 5th in the second. He's got a short leash here, the referee, Fernando Ibarra. He's been blowing the whistle a lot, trying to make sure he maintains control. Here we are approaching the 84th minute. It feels like everybody on the field has a yellow card. 6 of them total in the game. He's still talking to Mendez right now. Judson's getting ready to make a substitution. They'll bring Josette Perez back in. Got an injured Fighting Saint. That's why the delay right now, though I'm not sure what the issue is. It's the goalkeeper, Morales, who's being looked at along the sideline by the trainer. I have no idea what happened. She hasn't been involved in any game action in the last several minutes. Men's soccer coming up after this. St. Francis and Judson complete the doubleheader. It'll be a late start, originally scheduled for 3:30, but this has been an exceptionally long game today because of all the stoppages. Goals, yellow cards, injuries, and we've got little of both of those last two things here, both a yellow card and an injury, created this stoppage. It's hard to see exactly what's going on. Morales returning to the net. Again, she's been standing in goal. She's been playing goalie this whole second half, but hasn't been involved in any game action in a while, so I don't know what that meeting was all about, but she's ready to continue. I don't know if she was cut, had to get it cleaned up. I think that might have been the case, but I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate too much because I didn't see it. We're back underway. St. Francis snuffs out the Judson attack. Eagles try to get another one going. Espinoza rolls it towards the sideline, kept in bounds by St. Francis. No, that's out of bounds. And a throw in for Judson. Josette Perez comes in. Mara Quintero comes out for Judson. Headed towards the middle of the field. One touch from Saragusa into the box and knocked free by Emily Galvin towards the corner. That's going to be a throw-in rather than a corner kick. Nice job by the Saints to ensure that it went out the sideline. Garcia taps it to her left, trying to get positioning. Doesn't have it. Easy interception for Judson. Nazkrant clears it for the Eagles, and a foul is called on the Fighting Saints. Free kick from the near sideline, just beyond midfield for Judson. Kick taken by Nazkrant right down the middle of the field. Into a sea of bodies, the ball falls loose, poked away by the Saints. Chased down by Jimenez, and Jimenez is challenged and loses it. Nice play by Isabel Diaz. No help in front of her. So the Eagles get it right back. Leon chases into the box, takes the shot off the crossbar. Ball still loose, in play. Saints looking to clear it towards the sideline, out of bounds. Second time today that Judson has hit the crossbar on a shot. That would have been potentially the game winner with only 5 minutes to play. Instead, play goes on. We're still tied at 3. Saints haven't been able to get any possession in a while now as Morales makes a stop on a ball that came in from a long way out. High arcing punt headed by Diaz across midfield. Judson goes right back the other way. Down the sideline, long run Okana won't get there. Goal kick next. Substitution for the Fighting Saints. Claudia Hernandez is back on the field. Andrea Aguirre comes out for the final 4 minutes or so. There's a whistle. It will go Judson's way. Free kick for the Eagles. Looks like Ashley Portell will take it. Under 3.5 minutes to play in this game. We're tied at 3. It was 3-2 Judson at halftime. Too many Judson players around. Saints unable to clear it. Here come the Eagles. A run towards the corner. Trying to keep it in bounds. They can't. It was last touched by St. Francis, though. Now the clock stops again as the referee has a talk with Kelly Flores. He's a talkative chap. There's a throw in from Judson. Back underway. And the Saints quickly clear it. Do they have enough to mount a counterattack? Nobody on that end of the field wearing white, so it's a tall order, but now the throw in on the sideline. They're able to move their offense downfield a little bit, their midfield as well. First part of this second half dominated by St. Francis. Not lately. Judson hasn't been able to break through, though. Kelly Flores checks out. Andrea Aguirre is back in for the stretch run. No attack there for the Saints. None yet from Judson on this end of the field. It is the Fighting Saints throw-in. Foul called on Judson. Isabel Diaz was tripped up. Free kick for St. Francis. Final 2 minutes of play. Can they hold on to possession here? They'd like to score a goal, but minimum that they want to achieve here is just at least make sure that Judson can't score again. We've seen them really dominate possession when they've wanted to today. At least that's what it feels like. Mendez tries to turn it upfield. She has fought off the ball, and a whistle blows. A foul called on St. Francis. Quick interception from Aguirre. Remember, Judson scored in the final minute of the first half. There's time here for both teams, especially the Saints, who cross it in front of the net. A header to the backside. O'Connor can't control it off the first touch. On the second, she keeps it alive. There's a shot deflected by Naskrent. Ball still loose and sent to the sideline, out of bounds off of Judson. And an injured player down for St. Francis with 50 seconds left. It's Mia O'Connor who's on the ground. It was O'Connor who had the chance to make the play initially on that ball that was sent deep into enemy territory. O'Connor misplayed the first touch. By the time she recovered on the second one and took the shot, Naskrent was able to get herself in position to come up with a stop and not let the ball go back to the goalkeeper. Joanna Mercado has had a good game in net, but hasn't been challenged in a while and wasn't on that one. O'Connor tripped up at the end of the play. They're working on her left leg down there. Under a minute to play in this game. It's already gone considerably longer than your average game, and you're even in the final minutes. We can't escape an injury. There have been a lot of wounded in this one so far today. Tied up 3-3. St. Francis trying to put on the pressure one more time and get a final goal here before the final buzzer sounds. Judson will look for a stop and a quick counter strike, but probably not much time for more than one legitimate attack from either side, the amount of time we have left. Andrea Villa comes in for Mia O'Connor. It's a rare moment in any game that O'Connor is not on the field for St. Francis, but for the final 50 seconds today, she'll have to watch from the bench with an injured leg. Kelly Flores comes on to help her off the field as well. She is on the sideline. We're ready to continue with a throw-in coming from Zoe Vallant. Long throw in, headed back to Vallant. Vallant looking to set it up. Puts one far wide to the right and out of bounds. And with 40 seconds left, it's going to be hard for St. Francis to get another attack going. We'll see if they can take possession away quickly off this goal kick. 30 seconds left. Will we see another shot from either side? Rolled softly towards the far sideline for Judson. Looks like Judson might be content to play for the tie at this point. There's not a lot of time to get downfield. That's pushed out of bounds. Going Judson's way. The whistle blew. I think we would get a free kick here, but the clock did not stop. They will take the free kick. But looks like not enough time to get a shot off for Judson, and the final buzzer will sound with a score of 3-3. A wacky game today between two teams that haven't scored a ton of goals this year, particularly St. Francis. They had just one goal total in their last 4 games. They break out today with 3. It's not enough to get the victory, but it is enough to get another point. Second straight result for the Fighting Saints. So they will continue to look for their first win of the year, but their record improves to 0-5-4 with that draw. Judson in just their second conference game of the year. First time they don't get the full 3 points, but they get another result for themselves. So they have gotten a result in back-to-back games now, 4 points for them, with their conference record now going to 1-0-1. Their overall record is now a dead even 2-2-2. St. Francis has 2 points through 3 conference games as their record goes to 0-1-2. Goals scored today for Judson, 2 of them for Daisy Garcia and 1 for Maria Artelota. For St. Francis, 2 goals for Isabel Diaz, her first 2 in a St. Francis uniform, and 1 for Zoe Vallant, who also had her first of the year. Saints outshot the Eagles today 21-16, 10 shots on goal compared to 8. A lot of whistles in this one, 33 total fouls called between the two teams. We saw 6 yellow cards handed out, and that was certainly one of the stories in the game, especially down the stretch in that second half as the game struggled to get any kind of rhythm. A lot of whistles, a lot of stoppages, but St. Francis scored the only second half goal, the one they needed to get the draw, and it ends today with a 3-3 final score. That'll do it for today's broadcast. Don't go anywhere, though. The men's action is coming up in about a half hour. St. Francis against Judson. The next home broadcast for the Fighting Saints women's team will be later this week. It is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. They take on Indiana South Bend. That's it for this one. Our final score, a 3-3 draw between the Fighting Saints and the Eagles of Judson. Till next time, Terry Bonadonna signing off for the moment. We'll talk soon.